to see who is going to be able to lift this EWC trophy. And here we go. All right, Casey, I do like this draft a little bit better, but I also feel like DK kind of had the answers once again. The Gnar lock-in definitely working out, but with the Olaf there towards the top side, I think that KIA has a lot of agency in this game.
Yeah, I think if KIA is off to a good early game, he can really take over team fights, because Lux is not going to be able to do anything against him. And Jarvan, he can commit the Cataclysm, but that's not who you want the Jarvan ulting in a team fight. So I feel like if KIA is able to find a flank, he can really, really do some damage, but it's up to Smash and Career to really stomp this bot lane, because that's why you're playing Caitlyn Lux. You pick this Lux over the Karma to go for the Flash Q level 1, to really get plates, to get strong, because 20 minutes into the game, you'd always rather have the Karma with the Mantra shields and the movement speed that she provides, but Lux provides more early game pressure, so it's up to Career to make that happen.
Yeah. See how this top lane goes, because we've seen this matchup be super volatile as well. This one is more pivotal here at level 1, but it's been a matchup we've talked about so much more recently. You know, Atlas and I were talking about the first time we saw this tournament. I initially kind of thought, well, if you're perfect with the Gnar, the Olaf shouldn't be able to do anything, but it just hasn't worked out that way. As Showmaker's going to take a huge chunk here, but we'll be fine. As if you hit an undertow, you hit another undertow, you run at the Gnar, you've got Ghost. As Showmaker continue to trade level 2.
Yeah, that Noxious Blast, if that had landed, yeah, he might have just been dead. Is drinking his potion though, Showmaker doing the same thing. The Snake Lady definitely feeling very comfortable at this stage of the matchup. Wave is going to crash towards the turret though, and it looks like Yehu is going to be all right for the minute. Yike on his Wolves now as the Raptors have now been taken by Lucid. The flash out of the way here from Showmaker, avoiding the stun out of this Anivia.
I think keep health. I think they want to challenge jungle here with the prio that Showmaker has.
I think Showmaker thought that Yike could be in range to follow up on the stun. Lucio is roaming here, but Lucid is trying to sneak away the Krugs. I wonder if Yike will... Does he know? He seems to know.
Yeah, he's just immediately going to bounce over. There is the smite from Lucid, finds the Q for most of the little rocks there as well. So a decent early start here for DK, but I'm worried with that flash being down from Showmaker in the mid lane. These roams from Busio that the Bard really wants to be doing could be absolutely deadly.
I just don't know if he's going to get to roam that much in this matchup, though. He's kind of locked in right now as Smash and Career going to crash this giant wave, and they know that Nefuri's top, so they can sit on this lane. If you don't know where the Nefuri is, you got to be cautious here, but because they do know, they're taking plate money.
One thing that's really nice about this Lux pick is as the Ezreal in this lane, you'd really want to go to teleport so that you can get a free recall early on. But if you go teleport against the Lux, you're so vulnerable to that Flash Cosmic Binding. So that's why Kalista ends up going for the Cleanse, which means it's a harder early laning phase for him.
It doesn't have teleport, doesn't have the barrier either, obviously combat-wise, so just very vulnerable in this early game. As they're looking to punish this flashless Cassiopeia, but Showmaker is very aware of it and is willing to sacrifice a little bit of lane here in order to be safe.
I mean, Yehu is stepping forward with 300 less HP, so nice that Showmaker realizes. Yike needs to try to cross mid lane here and get that bot crab, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to get it just due to how strong DK's laners are, with Showmaker being full HP, bot lane being completely pushed in.
Wait. They're just getting Miasma, taking a lot of damage here. Does still have the egg, which is why he can still play a little bit further forward, but might need to invite the doggo to come back towards this mid lane. Try and keep him alive. That will be that crab going down. Yak does collect that one for himself as Lucid gonna come on over, look to pick up his Raptor camp when it is respawning.
Anna's having a rough time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not feeling great at this stage of the matchup. Oh dear, Lucid going to get hit by these daggers. And Korea moves his way over, gets that shield out onto the Jarvan, gets a return as well, but there is an egg in the mid lane, and Showmaker is just biting it with those Twin Fangs. Does manage to respawn. Now back to not a very high health bar, as now KIA looking to go aggressive. Up damage does come through, but there's the undertow, and here is the all-in, the flash to follow! First blood solo kill for KIA!
And that's why you pick the Olaf. KIA lands every undertow, flashes after Shiwu. He was struggling in the early game, down in CS, but now getting the solo kill, he can crash the wave and finally make some use out of this Olaf.
Has it before level 6. This hits the right, he finds the right window there. It's enough damage and pops the Ghost. So you can see right now, obviously a little bit low on health, but that's where Olaf wants to thrive here. Knows he can come in. Yes, there's going to be a hyper proc here. He tries to go for the hop, but then has to kite back left, and the follow flash is there. Great undertow accuracy there, of course, from KIA to set it all up. And he picks up a massive win here. First blood for KC.
You have to feel the crowd having his back is helping him
revitalize,
especially when you're playing Olaf. I feel like Olaf is a momentum champion, you know? You always need to click forward, always need to continue playing aggressive, even when you're low, even when you're struggling. As Busio wants to try to get a chunk on Showmaker here.
Showmaker able to slither his way out, but does still get caught by the stun out of Yehu.
I feel like Showmaker's had such a fantastic tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And especially game 1 as well, it felt like for me it was the biggest difference makers. Maybe I jinxed him now.
Perhaps. Lucid is up here towards his top side. Showmaker just going to slink on over towards him. So Busio, even on the return, unable to quite find the value here.
Yeah. And a 2v2, Showmaker's ult way more valuable than the Anivia's as well in that type of exchange. So I think as soon as that's hit, it's just best to walk away. A lot of control here, though, for Lucid top side. He's got so much deep vision. And he's going to wrap back around. Meanwhile, Busio trying to find an angle here, but Smash and Career too safe.
And Busio needs to be careful because he's paying a price every single time he goes for these roams. There's now 2 plates going over the side of this Caitlyn Lux and a 10 CS lead for Smash. And if Busio continues roaming like this, suddenly Caitlyn can take that bot tower, swap up into top lane, and just explode the whole game.
Yeah, we see that oftentimes, especially if a gank goes off, you see a dive, then that happens every time, but Lucid's been patching holes elsewhere on the map. We'll be losing this Scuttle, and right now, this timing, they're looking to potentially start this dragon, but they do not have a ton of control just yet.
Yeah, Career and Busio are in the area. We do see the flag going down to get information of this Cloud Drake being started potentially by Yike. Showmaker going to be catching this wave though, as tempo advantage does go towards KC, using that for a reset for the Anivia. And Career and Smash just continuing to walk towards this turret in the bottom lane and remove crockery every single time. Plates going over. That's a 3rd one here in Smash's back pocket, moving him up to a 450 gold lead.
DK need to be a bit careful in bot lane though. They still don't have a ward. I was going to say that Yike's about to hit level 6, but he just decides to clear his topside camps. So there's not going to be a gank there available. Just wants to clear all those. And wait, Showmaker and Yike are going to find each other.
Bit of an interesting maneuver here.
Showmaker's
not sure where he's going.
Wrapped all the way around here.
So I think, did Yike? I don't know if Yike spotted him. I think he was maybe in the bush. Otherwise, I feel like Yike would have tried to chase and delay his tempo, not let him recall. But still, he has to walk quite far, so he's going to lose some minions in mid. Speaking of losing minions, Kalista's struggling in bot lane.
Showmaker's not going to commit the TP, interestingly. He's just going to walk all the way back and sacrifice some CS here, put himself 300 gold behind in total as a result. His plate, I believe, also, yes, did go over to Yehu. Ooh, not going to matter.
The sneaky little trap hidden behind the turret. Very, very nice there from Smash, but Bliss not going to be dead as a result of that one. But as everything sort of settles and waves reset, it is still 2 waves in advantage here for Smash, as well as all of that plate money that went his direction. As Busio magically journeying over, does miss the Cosmic Binding though, and is now just going to take a lot of damage from these Twin Fangs on the return. Showmaker standing his ground quite well on this Cassiopeia here in this mid lane for now. Champion that he has had struggling times on in the past, but these scrubs have been started.
Shiu with an R-bar here. I think Dplus should have control of this, and KC should just evacuate. Yike is staying very long.
Yeah, the house does fly on through as the flash out from Yike, not wanting to mess around at all.
They'll get 3 for 3 off of this, so a huge win here for Dplus.
Feels like DK is just winning every single lane and utilizing that pressure so well. Smash should know that Kana is here. So unless Kana does a crazy undertow, maybe could force the flash.
Couldn't quite find that one, as the Ragnarok not going to be invested either. Shorts the undertow there. Career going to be able to come on over and help. There is a Lucent Singularity in the air. Peacemaker goes wide.
Very, very tightrope walk there from
a lot of things just barely not hitting.
Yeah, very, very scary moment there, but he will be fine. No punish. Dragon still in the mix here, and finally it looks like Yike is going to have enough control to start this one up with the control they have in mid with Yehu. Career's going to try to go suss it out.
Stopping this Drake stacking from the Caitlyn Lux would be really good for KC, but
oh, the double stun from that light binding Smash. Finding the combo is Kalist. Is he getting soloed by Sheer? The flash and slaps him down. There is the solo kill for the Gnar. Showmaker going to get walled away, but you can see Yike down to sub 100. Kana is basically dead as he's going back to base. Very brave, as Yike is going to let his top laner live and somehow survive alive that ace in the hole.
It's an absolute disaster for KC. They get solo killed on top. They're not having the damage to deal the Drake. As we see how Shiu was able to pick up this solo kill. He dodges the Qs from Kalist. He has the damage, gets on the edge with the Mega Gnar ultimate.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that thumbs up was to signify you got me or I got away, but it was on the edge. And either way, it's a thumbs down from KC fans. The result, that is to say, Shiu picks up the solo kill there. And in the moment, in the bottom lane there, the double root was just the cherry on top. It meant guaranteed there was no way KC could win the fight, but at least they were able to get out with everyone's lives as Kana was so incredibly low that he wasn't taking an ace in the hole, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I love that Shiu is 100% everything contribution as far as kills and deaths. A solo that went his way and against him. So this Gnar in a decent spot, but kind of out of lane, not quite finding the value that Shiu has had, just chilling out here towards this top side and keeping on pushing. We'll have that Trinity Force completed relatively soon. As chasing down Kana, I mean, this is the thing, it's the all-in that Shiu needs to be very, very careful of, but otherwise should be in a good spot in the lane.
I feel like Boostio hasn't been able to find any roams. He's mostly just going to mid lane trying to help Yehu out, but the fact that they haven't been able to get anything off of Showmaker flashing early game, get any sort of lead for Yehu despite it, feels really bad for KC. They're bleeding on bot lane. The top matchup, while Kana got the solo kill, he's still getting pushed in. There's no lane for Yike to play through. And it just feels like KC's outclassed across the board as Kalist gets chunked once again.
Opportunity here for Yike, potentially. He is here faster. They have the magical journey. Smash, may get punished.
Yeah, Arcane shift forward. There's the ulti from Yike to close the distance, and down goes the Caitlyn. No response. Tempered Fate and a whole career in place. Lucent Singularity is down. The Cosmic Binding somehow missing. That Light Binding just gorgeous from this Lux player. As the hop comes in, Shiu is dead again, ladies and gentlemen, and Boostio will follow suit on the bottom side of the map. Still, KC come out on top with that extra kill, but there is the flag and drag bringing Lucid over. Yike gets the doggos back though, and these Darkened Daggers do a lot of work. Lucid trying to at least keep this fight going until Korea makes its way over. But it looks like Yehu not going to be helping out as Showmaker making his life annoying. Man, this one is so much closer than game one.
Yeah, Boostio, great Bard portal there to finally break the formation of DK and actually open up this game. KC getting a lead now. Kana getting the solo kill back to back, showing the power of this Olaf. And hopefully he can then use that to transition into a bigger lead and get push in top. Because I feel like looking at Yike's game plan, you can see how far down in CS he is on Lucid. Lucid is playing so well around these prio lanes, consistently invading Yike, full clearing his jungle. So Yike needs his teammates to actually help him out in this game.
I don't want to say it's a drop in the bucket, it's a significant pick, but doesn't overall change the game state here on the bottom side. Smash is still going to pick up first brick here. Got this massive push, so you slowed it down, but it's not going to actually ultimately be a massive game changer in the early parts of this one. As we're going to see exactly what went down here is you hit an undertow, you got the ghost available, pressing R, this time he's got it, Shiu just cannot escape, it's getting run down. The more significant play though I think was that kill in the bottom, and like you said, finally Yike is able to get a punish on this pushing Caitlyn lane. The follow-up though from Career trying to catch him backfired in a big way, so it's one step forward, one step back for KC on the bottom side of the map. At least this Olaf is huge because someone's going to have to get backline access, and he's going to be the one. He's going to be the one running towards Smash and Showmaker with impunity in these late game team fights if they can get there.
And someone needs to kill the backline because Kalist is down 1,500 gold. If this is a fight where Smash and Kalist are both just able to do their damage, Smash is going to do way more, especially with Career landing the Cosmic Bindings. He's ahead as well, got that Shurelius. And Showmaker, while he's completely equal, he should be able to start getting ahead now with the pressure from Lucid with how strong this Jarvan is into the Anivia.
Yeah, and these undertows really do need to land. With Shurelius done, it just gives you so much extra movement speed as Boostio, snagged by the Light Binding. Man, Korea is having one heck of a day today as he lines up the angles, keeps himself safe in the previous fight, and executes Boostio in this one. 0-2 now for the Bard, unfortunately, and more plates are in danger. These three grubs putting in work alongside the Caitlyn, just getting around the map. And I was going to say this before, this reminds me of Deft and the way he used to use Caitlyn, which is park it outside a turret the entire game long. And they are just playing this siege game so beautifully. Yike now going to take a bit of damage through the doggos. Going to need to press W to grab those ones back. But Showmaker and Yehu have just been fighting anywhere on the map right now.
Dplus are going to group for this. and KC just don't have any in right now. Yeah, his TP, but he doesn't have Prio on the top side. Showmaker gets here first if they are going to commit those. I don't think they will. I think this one is just a done deal with all the mid Prio right now. Dplus are in such a good spot. If KC hard force and lose this fight, it might be the end of the game for them.
KC just don't have a lane to play through. Oh, Kalist, Arcane shift forward, but he's still losing the 1v1
Kana's
against
flanking
Smash.
a little bit, but he's found here by Shiu.
If they can stall out the Mega Gnar from Shiu,
could be a big deal. I do think that Kana is going to be the most important part. There's the Tempered Fate catching onto the Jarvan. Not a lot of follow-up there, though, as Korea demanding that Arcane shift out of Kalist.
the problem is the lanes. KC recognized the fact that DK are pushing both mid and bot. If they're going to get the Dragon, it needs to be right now. They can probably rush it and get away with it. It feels like they kind of got away with something they shouldn't have, as DK were the stronger team. But due to the fact that DK decided to push both mid and bot at the same time, small window with how much damage Nefiri does to the Dragon, KC get the Drake.
And KC also get another gift, and that is, it's a Chemtech Soul this game.
Ah.
Olaf with Chemtech Soul?
That's broken.
That is absolutely ludicrous.
I think when you look at that last fight, it was a sign to me that, first of all, I liked Kana's flank there, kept the Gnar honest, prevented Shiva from looking for an over-the-wall engage there, but it also meant that Dplus realized there's a level of volatility in this fight, which gives a potential, if KC outplay there, for them to get back in the game, and they're just willing to give one elemental to not toss this one away, especially with the Gnar bar fading away. Speaking of Gnar bar fading away, Kana is just taken over the side lane. He's got a Strybreaker he's going to use this. We do have a bit of a Herald fight here on the top side.
Yeah, being able to fight away from the Olaf could be a good thing here for Dplus KIA, as now Showmaker slithering his way down from that top side of the map. Bucio loses half his health bar. There's a great knock up from Lucid, and now where are they going to look? Showmaker is bearing down, gets the flash ulti, but no stuns to come in, but he's just sidestepping the rest of KC. Kana now making his way into the fight though, and you can see immediately DK like, nope, get me out of there.
Just going to get the turret here instead.
And KC, they're onto the Herald, but they do this so slow. I think DK can just rotate and force them out.
They're just going to get the turret, and they're going to come over here and try to stop this. Lucid is on this left side angle, can actually get in so easily on this Jarvan.
Light Binding comes in, connects onto Kana. He doesn't press the Ragnarok button just yet, as the Ghost has been used to start this one off. Yike can have to get out of there. Mega Gnar in perfect timing for Shiu to make sure that this Rift Herald goes over to Dplus. And the pressure just continues to mount on the shoulders of KC. And DK are just bearing down on them.
Yeah, DK are routing them. They have full control, and the way that they can just poke them without giving KC the engage. KC are the ones with the S-roll. They have the poke themselves, but due to how far behind Kalist is, his damage doesn't stick to any target. And Showmaker's so, like, Showmaker's tanky, Lucid is tanky, Shiwu is tanky, so as long as Smash and Korea are not the ones getting hit, as now, Yahoo looks like he might be dead.
Got some friends coming though.
Yeah, Cataclysm comes in. They're going to have to grab this egg as soon as possible. There's the auto attack to do it. And he can no longer move. There's a knock up on an already very stationary target. True Shot Barrage not doing too much as Yahoo down already. Bucio keeping himself alive though, and now Kana bearing down with these axes. Lucid is going to be his next victim. And okay, never mind. He's just going to take the Shelly exit. He's going to drive towards this mid lane.
Yeah, he's going to come in and try to, well, I said try to, get into the mid lane there and look to actually push that towards that inner turret. All the while, it is going to be a whole turret taken here on the top side. I think that was the right play from KC though. You got to look for stuff like this. You cannot just sit back and go, oh, we lost control. We're just going to play it slow and safe here because this composition isn't going to scale up. You see Yahoo get caught here, you got to just full send on defending him. You got to play through egg. You have the egg here, so you actually have some additional time, even though Kalist can't get here. And ultimately, did this really work? Did they get a ton of control back? No, but they got to go Olaf in here. They get a kill. This Olaf is going to be their late game win con. It's going to be a really hard path to get there, but at least they get something back. It comes at a heavy cost, though, as that top turret is wiped out.
Once again, Korea is just incredible, by the way. The Ragnarok wears off, and instantly he's tagged by a Light Binding. Like, I can't hit the Light Binding on a stationary target, let alone timing it perfectly through a wall.
I just feel like KC are so weak, apart from Kana. Like, you see that fight, and there's like no damage on Showmaker until Kana gets involved. And the problem is, if Kana wants to continue evolving himself in these plays, Shiwu is going to take those towers so incredibly fast. He has 3 grubs, has the Trinity Force, and a fed Gnar is going to be even more difficult for KC to eventually have to deal with.
It's so weird that you say Fed Gnar when he's been solo killed twice.
But he is just getting so much time. I'm with Zach on this one.
You're absolutely right, and that's what makes it so weird.
Because it's pseudo 3-carry comp. It's not quite the 3-carry we saw with the Tristana in game 1, but he's going to be a side lane threat. He's going to be difficult to answer. And so a lot of resources will have to be spent if Dplus continue controlling this map, which right now, they're doing such a great job. I mean, Lucid here is starting to challenge the camps of Yike directly in his face. He's a full level up. Just straight up here on this Nefiri.
Lucid was looking for a little bit of an angle there, as Busio going to have to use his Mikhails to keep himself alive. The magnetized life bindings always connecting here from Korea.
And it just feels like every part of KC is outmatched by DK. You see Lucid forcing Yike out. You see Career forcing Busio out. KC really need to find an angle to get a numbers advantage somewhere, but it's a very similar situation to game one, where they don't have one lane that they can actually play through. All the lanes are getting pushed in, so they need to channel that creative energy that we saw from game one to be able to find a pick using the Tempered Fate, using a teleport flank, or just some other creative avenue.
It's a 2 Drake game at 20.5 minutes, and Dplus are going to get this third one, but I don't think this is one that KC should fight over. Another potential angle here for KC when their Ezreal is, you know, at 21 minutes here, not even on that second item spike. I think you just have to play slow. I think you have to play through Kana being the raid boss. You have to play through Kana being the one and follow up on that. Try to zone with your Anivia wall and not try to play a traditional team fight, but just play an Olaf team fight later on in this game.
I also think showing how much control DK have of this game is the fact that they just did Dragon, and KC's cross map was one plate on top.
Hey, at least they got a plate on top.
At least they got a plate.
And got a little bit of respite with the wave being pushed out or two. That's certainly helpful. Canna on the bottom side of the map as well is going to greet this outer turret at the same time. 3 turrets, though, have been taken here for DK. The map is just shrinking on the side of KC. And Canna comes on over. Yes, he gets the overgrowth. That is about it, as Korea just kind of by himself is pushing KC around here in this mid lane. Lucid looks for an angle in as well. That is a possible engage option, but
I don't know about fighting into a Lux and a choke with a Jarvan here and a Gnar that's sitting on TP in the bottom lane. They're going to have to evacuate. If you try to look for picks with this KC comp, it's not the Camille comp we had in game one, right? Sure, they have a Nefiri, they have a Bard that can maybe split a team fight in half, but you're just not at the power level right now to actually win said fight, even if you have the numbers advantage. So I think they need to play passively, but if you play passively, you just get pushed out the map. It's a losing game almost no matter what choice you make.
I do think, though, when you look at the items, this is really the timing that KC should look to fight, because it's 2 items across the board for pretty much every player, while if you stall, then now Smash can get the LDR before Kalista gets his third. Showmaker can get his third faster as well. So I think if there was a time for them to try to find something, it is right now, but it's really difficult to see how they do that.
Yeah, what tools do they really have besides a wall and a potential Bard ultimate? Because Dplus are playing grouped. They're actually following each other, not sending someone super deep in the side. And when they know KC are grouped elsewhere, that's when Shio pushes aside, right? Or vice versa. Showmaker, right now the 1-3-1 is working a treat, and KC got a blast cone here to maybe try to play with onto Showmaker. Maybe that's your best angle, but he's got this ward here, he's got vision, he's got the push. It's hard to catch anyone, and if it takes you too long, then all of the rest of Dplus rotates up, which is exactly what's happening right now. So Showmaker's just chilling. Here comes Lucid.
Yeah, because DK can just continue pushing in mid. So as long as that 5-10 second timer, the side laner respects, DK can always cover that side. That's why KC needs to find someone misstepping, be really, really decisive on that play.
Ooh, maybe a bit of an angle here. There's Yike coming on over, but they do manage to get the shield out for Korea, helping Lucid stay healthy. So KC moving on over now. True Shot Barrage connects onto Smash. They get that position. Flash out of the way of the Tempered Fate is good. And Korea is now definitely going to be a juicy target here for KC.
So they utilize the timer there of having Yehu drop the top wave and moving straight. They get the flash as Kana looks for the solo kill.
Oh dear, a third one. Let's see whether he can make it happen. As yeah, this one's looking easier than the first two, although the kiting comes down. There's the undertow, and he'll be able to lock that one up. On the other side of the fight though, Yehu going down to the egg one more time. Would you like it scrambled, DK? That is the question. They got some time to think about it, as Showmaker is going to be able to grab that breakfast. Still, Lucid's going to go down as well. And that is Kalist now with a kill to his name as well. The Ezreal feeling better, and you mentioned it. This is the spike KC want to play around, and they get their fight.
I need to see a replay. How did Yehu end up so deep in enemy territory there? Luckily, Lucid goes a little bit too deep, and they're able to one-shot him as he goes in, but Yehu...
Fishing for stuns.
This looks good. This looks good.
Yeah, fishing for stuns.
He gets chained.
And then I think what I would have liked to see here for KC potentially is a TP from the Olaf. If Olaf TP's behind, maybe they could actually make something more of this. But he was so focused. He doesn't have his ultimate, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think even him being a body there on the other side could give him more of an opportunity, as this is the first-person view on the third solo kill here for Kana this game.
I feel like Kana, let's see how low he was. He finishes this fight at 700 HP. The thing is, I feel like KC should just back off, let Kana finally get bot push after you've gotten the solo kill, and then you should finally have a pushing lane that can generate you some pressure. But it's good that we continue to see KC fight. You know, they continue finding these angles, and while that wasn't the play from Yehu, it still ended up being a 1-for-1. Lucid was a bit of a shutdown.
Yeah, shutdown. It's a Kalist as well.
So it is like gold going over the side of KC. It was nearly a 4,000 gold lead for DK. Now it's 2,000 with KC looking to pressure up top lane.
Definitely a big swing back in favor of KC. Still haven't done all of the work just yet as we crest the 25-minute mark. Baron been up for about 5 minutes time, but it's a 20-second timer on this Chemtech Dragon. That'd be soul point for DK. Lucio almost just dead. There's the ace in the hole. Almost dies from that one as well. And all right. Oh, there's the final spark. Sometimes the emotes come too soon as Career puts him down.
Career just capping him in this game. He is destroying him.
This is probably Career's best game. I haven't seen a performance out of this guy like this for a really long time.
It's crazy. We could argue a little bit of a mistake there from Bucio as well, but he just keeps hitting these bindings. The headshot comes through.
The Caitlyn is online. Like,
this is crazy.
Doing so much damage. KC, if they want to win a fight, they need to focus Smash down, because otherwise he will tear down their team apart.
And this is just a free dragon here for Dplus. I mean, look at the map. There's just no way in. KC don't want to give this up, but they don't have a choice. Kalista also in a bit of a bad spot here.
Yeah, Peacemaker does not find the target. There's the Tempered Fate to keep them at bay. Shiyu now looking for Yike as Yahoo is up towards his top side as well. Yike can have to flash out as Oldenar just barely not able to get in there, but Showmaker turns up and Yike realizes, I'm just going to have to hold forward. Unfortunately, you're going straight into the Petrifying Gaze as Yahoo is getting surrounded. Kana shows up though. Do they have the DPS to deal with this Olaf? That is the question. He does put the chicken in a cage, and Showmaker is going to come over and sink those fangs in. And now, with the Ragnarok running, he's looking for one kill, but Shiyu's going to survive because he has his friends here this time. And DK, they find 3 in the topside play.
And I mean, this is the moment where Dplus proved that grouping like this and reading the plays from KC, having these fast rotations, having the support of anyone who's trying to get pinched is always going to work when you're this far ahead and you have this much map control. As Bucio hung around for a moment here, but likes being alive, and we'll just let this Baron go. As a final spark will stop Kalist's back one more time, and Dplus are so in control of this game as we go back to this initial setup here.
Yeah, DK has silenced the crowd here. Yike wants to try to dive Shiu, but he's just so weak. He can't actually fight him 1v1. Shiu will recognize it's the bluff. Showmaker knows that Yike needs to go onto him, lands the Petrifying Gaze, and now Kana's TPing in, but what can an Olaf do here?
He can't do anything because his DPS is gone, right? Yahoo is still early days here and very vulnerable in this fight. And the Ezreal is in the mid lane. Can't get access, has no cryo into the Caitlyn, and is just pushing the wave as he's cheering in the mid lane. Well, there's nothing he can do. He drops a true shot to try to snipe Shiu, but he's unsuccessful. And Dplus, by the way, instead of letting their top laner get caught there and avoiding the fight and getting a dragon, they win the fight, then they get the dragon. So now they have soul point. They got wins on both sides of the map. We'll see if Shiu can escape here.
Oh, well, I think this one's going to be a difficulty because just one Olaf has been a problem so far. Does have Meganar coming up, though, as Bucio finds the Cosmic Binding. Still, the pressure here from Dplus just a little bit too much. Meganar is able to get away. The dragon is taken, soul point is claimed, and they're going to look to take down this turret as well, because I feel like that whole last section of play had nothing to do with Smash, who is now, like, 3.5 items. This Caitlyn is ludicrously strong.
Yeah, that was pretty much a team fight without Smash. That was all Showmaker and Shiu. So now, if Smash gets involved, it's going to be so much more difficult for KC.
Oh, Lucid just going to put them into the Cataclysm. Final spot comes down, but Lucid's in a bit of trouble. And now it's Smash's point of view. Takes down Bucio first. There's the second as Yike goes down. He is put behind the wall, but the rest of DK are getting on in there. Shiu, possibly a bit of an overextension, but Smash goes back to his favorite thing, and that is dismantling the house of KC. Inhibitor turret goes down in the mid lane. Showmaker chasing out Kalist on this top side, and there is the knockup from Lucid. The 1-2 punch of the mid jungle looking good as Dplus KIA are poised to pick up match point here at EWC 2026.
Dominance.
Yeah, that's the only word I can think of. It felt like DK had full control of this game the entire time. Even though Kana got 2 solo kills, it didn't feel like KC ever really had a pressure point to play around to be able to find an advantage in this game. They're going to look to cancel the bases. The Temper Fate lands, but you can't really do anything.
Well, Korea is looking to get out of the way of Yehu here. Goes down to about 50% as now kind of runs in, looking to try and kill Smash, but he just flashes away and gets the headshot down onto this Viking. Now Busio and Yehu, they are so incredibly low.
All these fights is just like Kana and 4 potatoes, you know? Dplus like, all right, kill that Olaf, and the rest of the team is just not going to be able to do anything. Yehu has no mana. In the last part of that fight, he spent so much time trying to whittle away in this early part of the skirmish, but look at the fight that KC are trying to take here. They have no control. Lucid's able to flash away, and then once again, you just can't deal with all of this damage coming out of Smash.
Yeah, I feel like DK can play the fight however they want because Lucid can tank the backline for 5 seconds, while it only takes 2 auto attacks for Smash to kill the backline and frontline of KC. So it's so difficult to see an avenue for success for KC this game, because it just feels like they've been shut down every single play that they went for, every single lane that they went for, and DK have just been better throughout the whole game.
Just feels like suffocation here from Dplus KIA. Every answer seems to be there, from this Caitlyn Lux lane being so incredibly suffocating, and then the Olaf that has found so much success into the Gnar. 3 solo kills against the Gnar, and it just hasn't meant anything.
Let's not forget, part of the reason why Smash got so online so early was because Busio tried to affect the rest of the map with his roams. It wasn't successful. And just from the outset, Dplus had such oppressive control. The Gnar is so difficult to punish, even if you solo kill him. He's still going to be relevant in teamfights later on. He spent so much of this game just hard farming.
Now we've got Dplus closing in on the base of KC that is already in shambles. Yeah, trying to avoid these noxious blasts. He's doing a decent job, but he is a Nivea. He can clear out waves quite comfortably. There is no Baron left to help with this push. They are at least able to deal with these minions for the moment. Miasma goes down though. Yike not very happy about that one, as there is a pesky Gnar just trying to knock down Nexus turrets here. And KC just kind of getting pulled around the map. The pressure is just not going away.
DK are doing what they've done so well all game, just playing it slow, suffocating KC, and not letting them have any avenue for an engage, play with the minions. The Tempered Fate, Busio is trying, but there's nothing there.
There's nothing there, and I mean, the super minions starting to hit these turrets. They're running out of time, they're running out of health. As another wave is coming through mid and top, and Dplus, worst case scenario, they back away and take Baron. Best case scenario, KC fumble the defense here, and they just lose the game right now.
Another inhibitor poised to go down here. The rest of KC are starting to mount a little bit of an attack. Showmaker fighting against Kalist. The ulti's interrupted from Yike though, and now Yehu has to flash out of the way. Dplus always there to have the back of their mid laner, and now Shiu is on Nexus turrets. Light bindings are flying through. Smash is just hitting the structures, and Kana might be CC immune, but he is not death immune. And now Shiu's getting his revenge. Another final spark here from Korea, and I think that might have been the final one here in game number 2 for KC. As Dplus KIA, they demand a reverse sweep out of the hometown heroes if they are ever going to win this series.
This is domination from the 5th place team of the LCK. Dplus could not get out of. They struggled to make sure they were out of Rise Group last year, but they are looking so much better.